Warriors, what will you do when the storms of life come against you? What will you do when the enemy has beaten you down? You rise up, warrior, and put on the full armor of God, the helmet of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the sword of the Spirit. You gird your waist with the truth, and you shod your feet in preparation for the gospel of peace, and most of all, the shield of faith. Warriors, mount up!
Hello, Warriors, and thank you for tuning in once again to another Warriors Mount Up podcast. I'm excited to bring you part 2. Today is part 2 of Premeditated, exposing the plans of the enemy through movies and TV. Let's do a quick recap, though, of part number 1. In part 1 of this series, we touched on outbreaks and pandemics, which just happened to be the name of the 2 movies, and what the enemy was planning with lockdowns, curfews, and masks. Just a coincidence that we once watched it in 1995, we watched it again in 2016 as movies. Outbreak was 1995, pandemic was 2016. Just a coincidence, or just a way to instill fear, just a way to plant the seed of fear in us when these things actually started to play out in our lives. Warriors, you be the judge. This is why I'm presenting this case. That all the things that we thought we were watching as sci-fi, that we're actually living out today in our present day. I didn't think of this on my own. The Lord brought this to my attention and said, you need to write this. And this is why I'm doing it in a 3-part series. I'm being obedient. I researched it. Like I said, I'm not a movie guy. I don't watch movies. But these were movies that the Lord brought to my attention, and I researched them and found the similarities. I mean, mirror images of what we're going through today. And part 2, I will show you what we're going through today also, and what's going on in our world right now. So in presenting my case, we're going to see how, again, movies that we watched are now our reality, Warriors. So the next piece of evidence I'm going to bring to you in part 2 is toxic chemicals and civil unrest. And this just was amazing to even come up with this. These are going to be related on Batman movies, believe it or not, and on how the things we watched in it are happening right now as we speak. 2 things: toxic chemicals and civil unrest. So moving on to the civil unrest, the Batman movie, which was released in 1989, the story is set in Gotham City, where crime boss Carl Grissom runs the town. The city is dark and dangerous and is protected by mostly a corrupt police department. The Joker, who is the criminal here, was created by falling into toxic chemicals. And what does he do? As his master plan, he starts to produce and sell hygiene products that slowly poison the citizens of Gotham City until they die laughing. Think about that one. Chemicals being put into the people of Gotham through everyday essentials? Something to think about, Warriors. I believe we were being tipped off way back when. Now, Batman, as we know, being the good guy who is fighting for justice, is now seen as the criminal, while the Joker and his cosmetic products are killing the people of Gotham. Trust me, Warriors, no one is looking to arrest the Joker. But Batman, who is for the citizens, Batman who's for the truth, Batman who's like the believers, is on the most wanted list. Isn't that what's going on today? In our cities, major cities across the United States? The police are the bad guys now, and the criminals are the good guys. Moving on, so the Joker decides that he is going to show people that he is a good guy. So he decides to throw a parade for the people of Gotham and give away free money to gain their trust. When else were we given free money? Do you remember a time that we were given free money to? Was that to show that they were the good guys? It's deception and diversion tactics are at play here. While the citizens of Gotham are fighting to obtain the money, they are unaware of the poisonous gas that is being released from enormous Thanksgiving Day character balloons which were above their head. The Joker and his crew wear gas masks in order to survive so that they can recollect the money from the dead citizens of Gotham. So the citizens of Gotham are going after the money. They've lost their focus. This is why our eyes need to be focused on the Lord. Remember, not for the love of money. We are not supposed to love money. That gets the focus off of God. Same way, the Joker's throwing out money. People have been made broke by this city. They've been oppressed by the city. The working class has been oppressed by the city. So the Joker is going to try to show that he's the good guy. He's going to throw money to the people. Meanwhile, his sinister plan is to release toxic chemicals in the air. In the air, which eventually kill the people. He recollects the money, and guess who wins? Batman now comes in and saves the day by collecting all the balloons that have the gas and removing it with the Batwing. We can learn from this movie that it's always a battle between good and evil. And maybe what the plans and what they're planning, releasing toxic gas in the air, putting stuff that isn't healthy for us into everyday essentials, which slowly kill us, but will we die laughing? With the blood of Yeshua, we will not die at all. We will stand firm in the protection of the armor and the blood. That's what we have, warriors. So Batman represents good, and the Joker represents evil. We must look at movies from a biblical perspective, warriors. I'm not telling you about these movies to go and watch them, but if you do, watch it from a biblical perspective. This isn't to promote the movie. It's to let you know that we were being tipped off way back when. And this was going to be a plan and a scheme and assignment of the enemy. Because no one would believe it if we told you. If we told you, we laughed, we watched the movies. I know I watched Batman. Like I said, I don't watch many movies. But back then, in 1989, I watched the movies. I went to the movies. And I watched it and laughed. Thought, well, this is funny. Never happened. It's happening. Excuse me. Again, we must always look at these movies as a biblical perspective and refocus our attention on the Lord and his word that can and will save the day. Along with us, the warriors, praying against such events. All these things that they're testing, all these things that they're trying to sneak by us. Just remember, it's part of a plan. So in my presenting this case to you, I'm just trying to make you see, you guys will be the judge. You'll be the judge and the jury. Which will take us now to 2012. So we went from toxic chemicals in 1989 in a Batman movie to 2012, The Dark Knight Rises. And that was released featuring the villain Bane, who used deception to manipulate the citizens of Gotham. Bane wanted to gain full power over the city and eliminate those who opposed him. I don't know about you. Sounds real familiar. If you oppose somebody, you try to eliminate them. He planned to destroy Gotham, and he tricked the people into believing that he was the good guy. It's concerning to me, warriors, to see how gullible the citizens of Gotham were. Oh, wait a minute. It reminds me of a few cities right now, such as New York and California. Warriors, we need to pray for our country. We need to pray for our world. In this movie, Bane arrives at Blackgate Prison with military assault vehicles to release all the prisoners back into the city. Is that not what happened recently? We're releasing people from prison because A, either they're overcrowded, or B, at the time, they couldn't stay 6 feet apart. Let me leave it at that. This action bears a striking resemblance to real-life events, and it's important to acknowledge these facts. During his speech, Bane explains his plan to the citizens of Gotham, and I quote, and this is from Bane, and I won't do the voice, I promise. I promised my wife I wouldn't. We take Gotham from the corrupt, the rich, the oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you, the people. Gotham is yours. None shall interfere. Do as you please. But start by storming Blackgate Prison and freeing the oppressed. Step forward those who would serve, for an army will be raised. The powerful will be ripped from their descendant nests and cast out into the cold world that we now know and endure. Courts will be conveyed. Spoils will be enjoyed. Blood will be shed. The police will survive as they learn to serve true justice. This great city, it will endure. Gotham will survive. Wow. I have chills. Sounds like if we as a church don't take a stand, this might be a reality. I could tell you now we need to stand up as a church and pray hard. Keep our eyes focused upon the Lord and what he has us doing as a body, not as individuals, because it's going to take an army. It's going to take an army of believers. It's going to take an army of warriors to fight against this type of corruption. But we got to do it spiritually. The way we're going to see it act out in the natural, we need to pray it. We need to pray spiritually and then watch how our prayers turn the natural around. Let's discuss the current state of Gotham. The city is currently in a state of chaos and disorder, where what was once considered good is now evil and vice versa. There is no sense of justice or order, and the people are being subjected to unfair trials and given two choices, warriors, both of which result in their death. This is not really a choice at all, is it? Our salvation comes from Jesus, who brings light to the darkness. Just like Batman saves the day, we warriors are to be the light in the darkness, to be the light for others. Look at this. Look at what's happening. I showed you how they released the prisoners back into the city. We're seeing how that's happening. They're bringing prisoners from other countries into our country. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go by what the Lord is, what I believe the Lord is saying with this is we need to be careful. We need to be very careful, because if you think about it, any type of kingdom and any type of king that was overthrown, it was always done from the inside. It was overthrown from the inside. The prisoners were already in the house. The bad guys were already in the house. We need to pray, and we need to get it in our heads that we need to stay in diligent prayer. Seek the Lord. Consecrate ourselves and seek the Lord. And we need to pray against all this stuff that we're seeing that we thought was a joke and we thought was sci-fi and we thought was just fiction is now becoming our reality. And we, the believers, are the only ones that could stand up and fight against it. Well, I wish I was finished, warriors, but unfortunately I'm not. I hope this information helps you see that what we perceive as fiction is slowly becoming our reality. Slowly. These movies were released years ago, and now we're starting to see it as our reality. So what I'm going to do is, guess what? Part 2 is over. What I am going to touch on next is going to be part 3, which will be the biggest part of the series, and what we're dealing with right now, and what the plans are, and what the enemy is trying to do to us, the believers. And it's going to be the trending topic, which is aliens and AI. So until next time, warriors, mount up, let's ride, and God bless.